The hedge is a story. It's a story within the landscape. It'll have its own history of why it's there, who planted it. Some of the old hedges are nearly 1500 years old, and some of them may only be 10, 20 years old. So they have a story behind them, and it's learning about that story which I think is the great part of a hedge.
What this project has demonstrated is how a community interest group, landowners and the Ministry of Justice can work hand in glove to bring about real amazing positive change. Planting hedgerows, not just great for the environment but great for criminal rehabilitation. My name's Peter Matthews and I'm a Community Payback Group Supervisor for the Probation Service here in Durlston. When someone gets a community service order, they come to people like me who will supervise them doing their unpaid work out in the community. The vast majority of the work that we do is litter picking and tidying up public parks, but a lot of litter picking. Just behind us is Swanage Bay. One morning I was out there and I had a chance meeting with a chap from Planet Purbeck. One of the initiatives that they wanted to drive was the natural restoration of the environment, planting hedgerows. That's how it all started.
My name's Alexia Haysom and I'm a doctor. I'm also the land use coordinator for Planet Purbeck. So I'm interested in how Planet Purbeck can help deliver more abundant nature in our landscape as a result of land use change and practical projects. Planet Purbeck has a hedgerow project, and I had an email one day from Pete Matthews saying we really want to do something that delivers more for the environment.
We had many discussions about this, and then one day the Planet Purbeck team suggested that we have a go at working together.
And this to me just seemed like we could not only offer scale to the project, but bring in people who could really benefit from undertaking this sort of work, which has really meaningful social implications. So it just seemed like a fantastic opportunity right from the start. Planet Purbeck's all about creating networks, and so we've put out lots of different feelers as to who might be interested in partnering with us for this project.
My name's James Sinclair Taylor. I own the house and the land here just on the outside of Swanage in Purbeck. I've been thinking for some time about trying to increase the biodiversity in my field, so I plan to plant a large number of young trees. It's a fairly labour-intensive activity, and if you've got 1,400 of them, clearly it's days and days of work, and so the projects which might not happen because of the cost of labour could happen as a result of using people on the community payback scheme.
So our first day on site was an absolutely miserable day that every community payback supervisor dreads. It was torrential rain, it was a bit cold, so our priority for that day was to get the whips, these little things when they're bare rooted, to get them in the soil so that their roots can be protected. The days that followed were thankfully so much better. The day started with James talking to the guys about what we're doing, why we're doing it, why this is so important for the natural environment, and that really struck a chord with the guys.
So you had to have one person digging the hole, one person planting, one person putting the treatment around the roots, one person filling in, somebody else actually laying out the lines that trees have to be planted in. And the fact that you had to rely on somebody else to actually help you with that, it builds a trust within the group. And as a result, instead of being individuals who are against the world, they actually ended up working together.
There just felt like there was some kind of moment of epiphany. I think the work was much more rewarding than a lot of the work that they ordinarily do. But at the tea breaks, the guys were actually talking openly about their legacy. They were talking about coming back with their kids.
If you can see year on year that what you have actually planted is growing into something, then that instills a sense of pride. And that pride actually changes the way you actually approach life. You're more willing to do something that is of benefit because you get a good feeling about it.
One of the key things that I talk to each individual about is they must take personal ownership of what they've done wrong, and they must make a commitment never to do that again. And I work very closely with my probation colleagues to make sure that we effect change.
Basically, when you put that high-vis jacket on with community payback on the back, everyone's morale just drops. You have no self-respect whatsoever. And if you don't feel good about yourself, you don't change. Whereas if you feel that people respect you, appreciate what you're doing, they treat you as someone who's there to help them do something that they need doing, then that instills a sense of self-respect, and that then changes your outlook on life and your outlook to a lot of things.
That's something we see again and again and again. When you get people into nature, good things happen for people as well as nature. Throughout my career, I've worked a lot with volunteers. They're absolutely vital to conservation in this country, and they really magnify the work that the paid conservationists can do. Conservation volunteering has 1,000,001 benefits. It gives people gentle exercise, it teaches people new skills, so it gives them confidence. It brings communities together as well. So where I work now, our youngest volunteer is 14, our oldest volunteer is 98, and they're perhaps people who wouldn't normally meet and socialise together, so it's really powerful in connecting people as well. And we've worked over the years with people with drug addictions, with mental health problems, or with young people who've come to us through the justice service. And I think the transformational power of that's been huge.
I felt that they could make a connection between the work they were doing, planting these trees, and their future. I felt that there was a positive change in their behaviour.
What is so powerful about this project is not only are the offenders paying back what they've done in terms of their hours, but they are creating a legacy for all of us. So the paying forward of that is in the form of carbon being sequestered in the roots of these tiny plants that are being grown now.
You can store more carbon in and under a hedge than you do in woodland or in grassland. It's a wildlife corridor. It's also very good in terms of filtering air pollution, at flood risk mitigation, stopping flow of water across fields. So their use has been recognised for centuries.
We need to have hundreds of thousands of kilometres of more hedgerows in our landscape. Anyone could take what we're doing here and scale it according to sort of whatever model they might find themselves in.
It's a fantastic partnership, and I think it's entirely replicable up and down the country.
If we're serious about nature recovery, hedgerows have a vital role in that. They are probably one of the best connecting habitats we can have within the countryside.
The ripple out from this could be really substantial, and I think it's that feels so motivating and exciting.